Taizo creates all-mineral sunscreen that fits into any skincare routine. Taizo sunscreens are lightweight, virtually invisible, and free of chemical sunscreens, so they're reef-friendly. Free of dyes, fragrances, and preservatives, it's elegant sunscreen you'll love and that loves your skin. Taizo Skincare is the perfect partner to our sunscreens in the fight against photoaging. With powerful antioxidants and benefit ingredients, Taizo Skincare helps diminish the visible signs of aging and prevents further damage. Visit taizoskin.com for more information. DMK is unlike any skincare company on Earth. Named after visionary founder Danae Montague King, DMK is committed to providing individualized products and treatment plans that heal skin on the cellular level, whether the condition concerns pigmentation, acne, inflammation, or signs of aging. DMK is home to the original enzyme mask, the game-changing formula that sends oxygenating, tightening, and exfoliating signals into the skin to enact changes in skin structures from the inside out. At DMK, we believe everyone deserves to feel the confidence that comes with healthy, beautiful skin. Learn more at DanaeMKing.com. That's DANNEM King.com.
Hello and welcome to ASCP's Esty Talk. I'm your co-host, Maggie Staszcuk, and ASCP's Education Program Manager.
And I'm Ella Cressman, licensed esthetician, international educator, ingredient junkie, and content contributor for Associated Skincare Professionals.
So, Ella, for as long as I've been an esthetician, sunscreen safety has been a debate. And side note, I now have seen this thing where people are promoting on their social that they don't use sunscreen.
To get the vitamin D.
Yeah, I mean, they're claiming because they want vitamin D or they're better than sunscreen. So they're showing themselves basking in the sun.
How old are they?
Yeah, you know.
Wait, honey. Tell them the eye cream story, Maggie.
Right.
It changes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So in January of 2020, the FDA posted a study in the Journal of American Medical Association, JAMA, that tested 12 sunscreen chemicals. They all found to enter the bloodstream at levels that surpassed the FDA threshold for safety. And honestly, I was not surprised to hear this.
I am, because it happens soon. It's not just from a repeated use, right?
Yeah. So it enters the bloodstream after one use and stays in our system for up to 21 days.
That's the part that had me going, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it is mind-boggling a little bit. And, chemicals in sunscreen that's the debate. That's the issue that's always long-standing. Should you be putting chemicals on your body? And people say, well, the use of chemicals outweighs the risk of sun exposure, blah, 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 right?
So let me just stop and take it back to those people saying the sun is I take it back. I reserve judgment. Let me say that. So yeah, it's kind of scary because when you're talking about this, you're probably talking about all over body application.
Yeah, for sure. So in addition to entering the bloodstream, there's other health risks. Skin penetration, obviously. There's hormone disruption. They could be carcinogenic, allergenic, and have immune effects. And then, of course, damage to all of our reefs.
This is crazy. Well, that we've known about for a long time.
Yeah.
But the fact that's still kind of creeping me out is that it happens after one use.
Yeah.
So you think, and let me explain. I have said, I am not a finger-wagging practitioner. I tell my clients, go have fun. We'll fix it. Do your thing. I got you. And as long as you're wearing physical on your face, get the baby sunscreen for your body if you can. But sometimes it's just not easy.
Mm-hmm.
When you're on the boat, when you're down in, at the beach on vacation or even in a different country, it's not that easy necessarily for complete and total application to hit every inch with some of the physical ones. In recent years, they've been better about having physical sprays, but they don't go on that great yet. They're still, perfecting it.
Totally. That's true. And to your point, mineral blocks, they're considered safer, better, and there's only two.
Just two.
That's
it. You want to know what they are?
Tell us.
Give me a drum roll. I think you guys are going to be some paper and a pen and write this down. There are only two touted, acknowledged, should we say, physical block sunscreens or physical block sun protection ingredients, zinc and titanium dioxide. These are known as mineral filters. Both are metal oxide particles, and they refract UV protons. If you're going to think about this in an analogy, I like to think of it like a shield. So the difference between sun rays that come and hit mineral is the rays bounce off. This is my brain. In a chemical sunscreen application, the rays come and then they're shattered. So if they're shattered, they're still frequencing themselves around your body. And that brings into consideration a bunch of different things like this potential disruption, but also heat. And so depending on what your concern is, heat can bring inflammation. So for me, for face, that's how I describe it to my clients. It's a matter of bouncing away or refracting. And you guys can't see me right now, but I'm doing jazz hands on my face to show that shattering of the UV energy. So that's the biggest difference between mineral and chemical for application. The thing is, zinc and titanium are approved by the FDA. They review 16 ingredients, and these are the only ones to pass GRASE, is how I like to say it, but it's generally recognized as safe and effective. One of the problems is that oftentimes this application leaves what they call a white cast or this white chalky appearance on the skin. No problem for people who have lighter skin, but when we get into those darker skin tones, you can see it. The good news is you know right where you put it, but then it's not appealing necessarily. So this has led to some talking about decreasing that particle size so that you can't see it as much and also still have protection.
So decreasing that particle size is with the use of what's called nanoparticles. And nanoparticles are basically, they're measured in nanometers or billionths of a meter. So it's basically taking the original molecule size and shrinking it down, reduces that white cast, and has the potential to increase the SPF. And studies have produced very little evidence that zinc and titanium nanoparticles can cross the skin barrier in significant amounts. But in 2019, the FDA proposed additional tests for sunscreens in powder and aerosol form, which is interesting. It's specifically stating aerosol form, but you can get sunscreens that are like a pump action spray that are not necessarily aerosol. So when I think about this, I'm thinking any sunscreen that's sprayed through the air to ensure that nanoparticles or small particles that are released don't damage the lungs. So jury is still out on this study as to whether or not anything that is inhaled by accident or even entering the eyes or going up into the nose and affecting those membranes is safe, for lack of a better word.
You know what? This is so funny. Not funny. You know what? This is really interesting because you get a lot of questions coming in asking, are these sunscreen, do these have nanoparticles? That question, valid. Let's address it. But the reason why they're asking questions, not so obvious. So it's like, oh, cool. Why are you think I'm interested in why that's a consideration for you? I don't know. And that's a similar, and I just thinking it's not to say that this is an invalid concern, but it just kind of reminds me of some of those ingredient apps that we talked about before. So if you're scanning and it says it's malefic and then why, it might link back to something like this. Just being aware is key.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back.
Are you interested in providing results-driven treatment services? Join a team of like-minded individuals who share your passion and support your success. With more than 1,000 franchised locations in 49 states, Massage Envy is not only the nation's #1 provider of massage services collectively across its franchise network, but also a national leader in skincare. Start or grow your career at a Massage Envy franchised location. Visit massageenvy.com/SDcareers for full details.
Okay, here we go. Let's get back to the podcast.
So the above things that we've just talked about, like the zinc and the titanium, these are UV filters, like you were just talking about, Ella, having that shield and blocking the sun. But there are also things referred to as ingredient boosters.
Mm-hmm. So there is a lot. You have to understand, we as a human race have been under the sun for a long time. And there have been natural fixes or natural approaches to sunscreen, prehistoric even. And some of them have been mud. And when you think about mud application for sun protection, what do you think of? Minerals, right? Okay, you can connect that. But there are other natural ingredients that a lot of people will tout as having these benefits, these sun boosting properties or these UV protective properties. It's just that they haven't had enough studies to clear that FDA list as an active ingredient. So for me, I do think that there is some validity. However, I think we talked about it last year, someone making a DIY home SPF.
Yeah.
Remember that? With like carrot seed oil and such. So there is this interesting thinking of over here to the left, we have, yeah, that could work. And then to the right, it's like, but you don't know how much you need. You don't know what else it needs to go with. So if it's in a formulation, for me, I think not just about sun boosting, but what's happening to the skin at the same time. The sun can potentially be a free radical or the UV, and then the environment that it's in creating inflammation. So in the formulation, and then it can be drying because you're sweating. In the formulation, I'm looking to offset all of those things, not just sun protection, but antioxidants, but anti-inflammatories potentially, and also some kind of a hydrating effect. So that's one side. But then on the other side, we have different inky names, so other particular boosters.
Yeah, and one of those is butyl octyl salicylate, or BOS, and it's a booster, or any booster, is responsible for the more cosmetically elegant feel of a formula. So it's giving that nice glide across the skin. It can also increase a sunscreen's protection level against UV rays. So there was this Bloomberg article that came out recently, and it called into question the safety of boosters. BOS specifically is structurally similar to the chemical compound known as octocalate, and it's one of the 12 ingredients on the FDA's list that went into review. So to achieve SPF 30 plus in mineral forms, manufacturers use a formula that's about 15 to 16% zinc or zinc and titanium dioxide plus a booster.
Mm-hmm.
And boosters, they supposedly improve a sunscreen's ability to block UV without doing the blocking themselves. So because of this, manufacturers argue that boosters are inactive compounds. They are not the active ingredient. They're saying that zinc or titanium is the active ingredient, and therefore manufacturers don't have to provide the concentrations of inactive ingredients. So they're not stating, for instance, what is the concentration of BOS in this particular formulation. So BOS being one of the ingredients studied by the FDA found to enter the bloodstream, it is potentially a hormone disruptor. It is potentially an allergenic ingredient or a carcinogenic ingredient, but manufacturers are arguing that they don't have to list this information as an active ingredient or the percentage that they are putting into this formulation.
This is why nobody trusts anybody. This goes into like the Cheerios that say whole wheat, heart healthy. And then you look at the back and it's high fructose corn syrup in the mix, you know? Similar here, where you have this healthy, this is minerals sunscreen, this is mineral protection. But deep in those ingredients, you'll feel that, you'll see this ingredient, BOS ingredient, and see that this could have this. So you're trying to do the best that you can. You're trying to pick the heart healthy cereal or the good SPF, not even understanding that you can be putting yourself a product on that doesn't align with your desires.
Yeah, so with all of these ingredients out there that are chemicals, they are sunscreens. People argue you can avoid all of this negative debate and use a sunblock, zinc and titanium. But now there's commentary coming out where people are saying zinc and titanium is safe, but watch out for your formulation because there's now boosters that are potentially not safe. So like you're saying, and you have to be well-versed and know what you're applying to your skin, but there are hidden ingredients in there as well.
It's crazy. It's no wonder like everybody's on edge and nobody trusts anybody. I don't like this at all. I didn't really even, I wasn't aware of this. And this has been out since 2019, you said?
Yeah, 2019.
That is crazy.
It's interesting for sure. And that's not to say that every zinc and titanium product has boosters in it. But reading the ingredient deck, and zinc and titanium is a fantastic way to protect yourself from the sun. And it's also the only sunscreen product that you can use in
Hawaii, Australia. You mentioned SPF 30.
Yeah.
And getting it to this 15, like this 15 or 6, because traditionally it's like 21% to qualify as an SPF 30. A couple things I want to mention: SPF 30, SPF 50, SPF 75. Here's another place where you need to understand you can be misled, right?
Mm-hmm.
The difference isn't that there's that many more minutes of protection. It's just really fractional, the amount of sun rays that it is. So 50 and 70 are usually inclusive of some of these chemicals.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. So keep that in mind. When you're looking at the 30s, that's plenty of protection. Just reapply, but look out for this type of ingredient. The other thing to think about is that all of these, because then you're like, oh, how do they know? How do they prove it? Because I've had that question come up too. They saw 16% zinc in a formulation, and how did they know? Where's the studies on this particular product to show that this particular product works? I get it. You don't trust me. I understand. After hearing about this, I empathize even more. But there is a testing requirement of every single batch of SPF to have the claim, to claim 30, to claim 50, to claim 70. They have to be able to prove that it really does perform at that level. So as long as it's manufactured in the US, know that at least it has that protection.
Now, listeners, we want to hear from you. What's your take on sunscreen safety? Share with us on social media through Instagram, Facebook, or by emailing getconnected@ascpskincare.com. Thank you for listening to ASCP Esty Talk, and as always, for more information on this episode, or for ways to connect with Ella and myself, or to learn more about ASCP, check out the show notes.